Welcome into the Power Hour. I am Steve Aaron, along with the urban sensation C-Red. And, although it is blank right now, our guest tonight, C-Red, play him in, man. You know this man. He's like your brother. He's like your blood. So give him a proper introduction.
He's like, what?
Like
my broad.
Brother.
I got the brother part, but broad.
There he is.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the one, the only. He is called Hot Chocolate, none other than Acid Jazz. And Steve is only with one Z, not two.
That's right. Y'all gonna get it right. And by the way, I'm not late. I'm actually, anytime I show up, I'm always on time. So get that straight.
Told you, CPT time.
It's becoming increasingly evident that jazz time is the only time. But that is neither here nor there. A lot of stuff to talk about tonight. When you're talking about a career like yours, you have seen some things and you have done some things. And, the one thing that I think is excellent is you've been doing this a long time. And I think right now you are performing at maybe your highest level, because I get the joy of watching you every month at CSW. And I'm seeing this incarnation of Acid Jazz doing things that, a young Acid Jazz was doing, and that maybe N-word time, Acid Jazz wasn't doing these things. But I see you flying around and you're clowning and stealing bells from general managers and doing this and doing that. And, when you come out, the crowd, it changes a little bit. And it's like, it's this, you have no idea what's going to happen next. So, talk to us a little bit about, where you're at right now as far as, being in some great physical condition, doing some amazing things in that ring.
Honestly, I'm having fun just being me. And it's funny because I get people who message me. They're like, "Oh my God, I saw that clip of you doing this and doing that, and you look so comfortable and so calm." I'm like, "Yeah, because I'm actually having fun." I mean, wrestling was never work, but now that I'm actually being more myself, it's just like, okay, I got this thing to do in front of these people, in a ring, So, I'll be back in a couple hours, So I'm having a lot of fun. And honestly, it's never work. It's never work. It's one of those things that I missed, that I thought I wasn't going to miss during the pandemic, but now that we're starting it back, I'm like, man, like, this is exactly what I need. And I was explaining to other people that it's not only wrestling fans who want to come back to wrestling, but it's also the wrestlers who want to perform. So this is, I'm an artist. This is an art form, and I take this very, very seriously. So that's my mind frame right now. I'm very comfortable. I'm very comfortable.
I watch you when we're backstage at CSW. I watch everything that happens there. And what is so impressive is I've seen you over the years in various locker rooms. And I've seen you be reserved. I've seen you be quiet. I've seen you be extroverted too. But I've never seen the Jazz that is just talking and laughing and having a great time with everyone like you are in a CSW locker room. It's really pretty cool. And I love it when you pull aside the young people and you really can see that you're really in it to help them. And I really appreciate that.
Well, you got to remember, I'm a teacher, so I'm used to actually breaking things down to younger people, to make things make sense to them on their level. And it's always individualized, like I'll be like, hey, speed up a little bit, or I go to another person, hey, slow down, chill, relax. And like I said, it's an art form. So I take art very, very, very seriously. And, it's performance. You can call it whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, everything's real. But it's funny. I was just teaching earlier today, and I tell my kids the same thing. Make it make sense. I've had really bad teachers, and I've had really good teachers in wrestling and in real life. And I just draw from that. Like, how do I communicate with this person in a way that's going to make them successful? You know what I mean? And plus, I grew up in an era where veterans wouldn't even look your way, let alone speak to you. And it was that type of motivation. I was like, all right, you know what? I'm not going to be that guy. But when I earned that respect, I understood why they were that way. You know, I'm still not that way. But you know, I get it. It's like, why invest your time into someone who's going to be gone in 2 weeks because they didn't get their way? You know, I'm all about just protecting the business, protecting the art of it. And it's funny that you say that I go to the kids with it. I don't. They come up to me because a couple summers ago, actually I think it was last summer, I just decided just to go do some training, you know, and they ran a week and they loved it because I talked to them. I didn't talk at them, you know, and it's one of those things that they just needed to be heard, but also they needed to also listen to someone that gets the little fine details when it comes to wrestling.
Well, I don't know what you're doing right now, but keep doing it because I must get 13 messages from various fans a month about, you know, who's going to be on the card. Is Jazz coming back? What's going to happen? Are they really mad? What's going on? So you're on people's minds, and I think that's pretty cool. Whether you're a heel or a face or whatever you're doing at the moment, it's you know, when you hit the ring and when you go through that curtain, it really puts an energy into the atmosphere that I don't think everybody that works in this business can do. And you know, watching old Soul Touches clips, I can see the generation of it as it from then to now. It's a natural progression. I mean, you guys are what I would consider the ultimate showman. And last night Red mentioned it, that there would, you know, New Day is, you know, a tribute to the Soul Touches in many, many ways.
Oh, wow.
You guys were doing it before them. And I'm inclined to agree because a lot of what you guys did, you know, they're getting paid big.
Dude,
money.
Don't act like that's something new. We were New Day before they thought about it.
You know, you're right. It's just that it was like when he's put it in perspective, I was like, wow, I forgot about that. Yeah.
I mean, dude, the only aspect was me, you know, as far as the New Day goes. But I mean, you know, I would consider you the Xavier Woods, Marche, Kofi Kingston, and of course Willie Big E.
Go ahead and do it. Well, give me one time. Give me one Willie.
But I mean, we set the standards, let's be honest, for what a trio, like, let's be honest, and I talked about it last night with Willie, the way we meshed and gelled together, it was like nothing that I had ever experienced before. First of all, Steve, I bet you didn't know this, but me and Jazz have 2 schools in common.
I did not know that. I mean, I knew the Windy City.
Well, you know Windy City, but we also both went to Chicago Vocational High School.
Oh, no.
So yeah, me and Jazz, we came through the same alma mater. So
Cassius
and Cassius and Crystal White and Atlas, but it means more with me and Jazz because of the relationship we wound up having. But anyway, back to our bond. So Jazz was wrestling while going to college. So while he was at college, you know, then entered Shay and then entered me, you know. So that was, you know, he would come back and he would work shows when he was on break or he was home for the weekend maybe.
Dude, I was getting booked on the weekends. It was like, hey, we need you for this show. and I just get a train ticket, go, 6 hours, do the show, see my family for a little bit, come back down, and that was that.
And that was crazy, So Jazz wasn't one of those guys that hung out, So we didn't get to bond like me and Shay did, And like I said, it's funny because if it wasn't for this one company, they brought Willie in as a singles with me as his manager, and then they brought Jazz in as a singles guy by himself. And then, like, the next show, they were like, well, they wanted Willie to have a tag partner. And I was like, well, man, this would be a great opportunity for Shay. And Willie agreed, so we brought in Shay. And then the next thing, they saw how we acted together.
Hold on, time out. Wasn't Shay was actually at the fantasy camp that I taught.
See?
Yeah. In Windy City, there was this thing called fantasy camp. It was basically a bunch of guys who wanted to see if they had what it took to be a wrestler. And I didn't realize it because it was my first year actually being a part of it, because now I'm respected as a wrestler who knows what he's doing, even though he's young. But it was a couple people who stuck out in mind, but and I didn't really think much of him at the time. He was just this skinny, scrawny kid, and and when I came back from college, from one of my breaks, he was still there. I was like, oh, good, so you're still here. Back to my point about not investing your time in people who are not going to be back because, oh, you think wrestling's easy? Oh, it's hard work. It takes patience. He was still there, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. But go ahead, Red.
So I think they just loved our chemistry. They saw, like, we had no problem. We would crack jokes not only on each other, but we didn't give a damn who we crack jokes on. We would crack jokes. I still don't. Jokes on everybody. And then they just had an idea. It was like, okay, you guys came up with a name for the group. What would you guys think about putting Jazz in the group? And like that opened so many doors. It was like, yeah, of course we want to, but they were like, but we want to not just put him in. There has to be series of tests and trials. And like I said, if you could I've got the DVDs, but if we could all compile that stuff into one, like just seeing Jazz trying to get in the Soul Touches.
All right, well, hold up. Hey, clean that up, though. Clean that up, because that wasn't Windy City. That was Elite Pro.
No, I know that. No, I'm saying I know that was Elite Pro. And it was just, Jazz and, the contract that we had, it started out, as toilet paper and phone books and,
yes.
And, like the contract just kept getting bigger, We even brought in a white nerdy guy first.
Yes.
We brought in Jazz.
Jeff Brooks.
But again, I think once they knew what they had, and again, I think what made us so unique is, again, we were friends. We weren't just four guys that we show up to a show, everybody shows up separately, and we do what we do, and then afterwards all four guys go their separate way. Eventually, of course we do, but like I told you last night, my life as far as this wrestling business goes, I owe so much to Shay, Willie, and of course, and Jazz. If I've never told you, I'm telling you now, live on the Genre Network. I owe you a lot. Jazz is one of those friends that when I've fucked up in life, and I'm saying it as it is, Jazz has no problem with telling me how he feels and what he thinks. And he never says it in a harsh way. But he says it, you know, and 9 times out of 10, it's a bitter pill to swallow. You know, but I have to, you know.
You got to remember, we're teachers. So I got to say it in a way that individualizes you. So I got to just put it in your face.
No, I
So
get
you
it.
like,
But again, a lot of people think about it. A lot of people would have said, you know, the hell with you, you know, and that's the end of the group and we're done. And, you know, but that's never been our case. You know, one of my fondest memories of Jazz in the ring um, is we were during a match, and I can't remember the match. Jazz might remember.
I remember last week.
I know, right?
Well, let's try it out. Let's try it out.
But during the match, Jazz gave a famous quote, and to this day, I still use it. And Jazz said, "Don't be no bitch." And it was just so natural, and it was Jazz, and it was like, okay, don't be no bitch. You know,
the best thing Jazz does even today, if you listen to him talking during his matches, now, the matches are great, technically sound, beautiful, does all kinds of stuff, and they're always
Thank you.
but it's what he says to the crowd and just whatever comes out of his mouth. That's the gold right there. He's just I sit there and we're all at the curtain. Listen, what's he gonna say next?
But dude, that's always been the best part of Jazz. And again, with the chemistry of all of us, when you put us in there, we're not, I'm gonna be honest, we're not Willie the Bomb and Acid Jazz and Marche all day, Rocket, Red. We're just Sean, Jazz, Marche, and Willie. And that's the best because we can act a plumb fool. We have made each other laugh. We have made opponents laugh during the match. And again, we just go out there and we're ourselves. And that's the thing Jazz touched on when he spoke earlier, that he's himself. And that's what's made Jazz. Like, you know, have you ever, you know, you meet people and, you know, their character is one way, and then you meet them and they're totally different. You know, they're loud in the ring and then they, you know, booty quiet, you know, any other time in life, you know, or they're loud backstage and then they get out there, they can't cut a promo, they can't talk, so they real quiet, you know. But Jazz is Jazz, you know. So when we're all together, oh my God, shenanigans that will take place. And again, don't give us somebody that we want to work. Oh, it's over. If we know we can act the fool, we're gonna act the fool.
The promos you guys cut back in the day are still spun freaking gold. So last night after we got done with Willie, I'm like, you know, I want to watch some of these. So I spent a lot of time on Google and YouTube last night. And let's take a look at what this looked like back in the day.
Oh boy.
He's playing Vanguard. Wow.
Give it a minute.
You pick one of the worst.
That's true.
You pick one of the worst.
That was so great. When she,
You know what? Fun fact about that place. That was literally a block away from the school I used to teach at.
those promos are so good, especially when she's kissing you on the cheek and Jazz turns and he's doing the Mick Jagger tongue in her ear. That's fun gold is what that is, man.
Hey, you know my motto: use what you got.
Man.
Use what's in front of you. I mean,
Dude, but here's what made us special. We did all of our promos one take. So our very first, and here's the joke, Steve, when I talk about toes. So our first time in Chikara, and we first go to, we get there and everything, and we didn't know we had, at least I had never watched Chikara. So
I hadn't even heard Chikara.
how big this thing was. So after that, Mike Quackenbush enthusiastic message, and we're ready for battle. He tells everybody to get dressed. We have to cut promos. And we're like, okay. So we watched like whoever was in front of us, and they just said, hey, we need you guys to introduce yourselves and why are you here? And we just ran with it. And even though I said touch toes at the end, like it was a fuck up.
It was supposed to be soul, touch souls.
Right, it was supposed to be touch souls, but I wound up saying toes instead.
Yep.
And it worked. And again, like from that point on, anybody ever asked us for a promo, we all did it in one take. Like we weren't that group that I didn't like that, scrap it. No, let's do it over. No, like people watched, like, damn, y'all got it done in one take. Y'all knew what to say.
Yes, we got that in one take, but it wasn't the way that we wanted, but it still worked.
But it always worked. Again, we just had to, what are we talking about? Okay. And we just went. And now, since you brought that up, and I hope Jay isn't watching, the best promo, the best promos were, so Jazz had got hurt.
Oh.
And we brought in Jay. And we kept holding.
That was terrible. That was terrible. I felt bad for him.
So the picture you showed last night, Steve, you have to watch that promo, because the whole time Willie is putting the picture of Jazz in front of Jay. Like this is, that ain't, no, you're not, you're Jazz, you're Jazz. So then when Jazz finally comes back, Willie takes Jay's picture and again literally balls it up to the camera like, and it was like we didn't know it was gonna happen. He just, and we were like, okay.
Super petty.
But that was Willie. Jazz, what? So Steve likes to have fun at my expense.
Absolutely.
So we got something in common.
So, an embarrassing C-Red story if you have one.
Well, did Shay talk about the
Yeah, he talked about when I flew down the ramps and flew and fell on my butt at AIW in Cleveland.
Wait, what? Oh no, that means I got two then.
Well, we already know the Jacket Trio story. So what's the other story there?
Wait, is that the one where you didn't have your insulin or something, or you need some sugar?
No, he does. They don't know that story. I kind of touched on that last night, but I didn't. But
you know what? Let's. Okay, we'll go off to that one. That's gonna be in my back pocket. All right. So the story. Woo! I don't know. I mean, stories I got about you. Let's talk about CSW since we brought it up. So at some point, Mr. C Red had his new girl and he wanted to, show off to the boys. Hey, this is my girl. No, be quiet. And he was like, "Hey, this is my new girl." Blah 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 blah. I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool. You brought her to a wrestling show. That's kind of weird in my head. I'm like, that's weird, but okay." Brings her to a wrestling show. So he's trying to press her, and there happened to be a battle royal. And C Red decided, "Oh, I'm a manager, but I'm gonna go ahead and get this battle royal." And I'm like, I'm a wrestler, and I'm not in the battle royal. So okay, go ahead, do what you gotta do to press your girl, right? I didn't say it. It was in my head. Not something I would do. So he decides, oh my God. All right, hold up. Before we go on, let's back up a little bit. So I'm a teacher. And when I teach things, I say, all right, do this, don't do this, don't do this. In wrestling, when I teach, I say, hey, it's a battle royal. Punch, kick, hit people. Do not fall down, because if you fall down, someone's going to step in your face. Keep it simple and get eliminated. That's it, right? This motherfucker decides, oh, I'm going to show off because my girl said I want to press her to the best I can. So he decides to not only not do anything that I taught anybody, but he gets from the top rope doing a battle royal. And I'm like, I didn't see it, but he got up top. I'm hearing the story. I'm like, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be good in it. So he gets on the top rope and he says, hey, I learned this from Willie. So he tried to do a leg drop on some idiot who was laying down when you're not supposed to be clearly laying down in the battle royal because you could get stepped on. Tried to do a leg drop on this dude. And he, keep in mind, this is her first show. She was wrestling. So he jumped up, and this is how it was described. It was him jumping off the top rope, him going like this, trying to get his balance, and then, bam, he broke his wrist. And that was the end of that. And I believe he came back downstairs and said, I think I broke something. And I honestly, I want to believe he told me he was trying to do a leg drop like Willie. And I was like, well, that's when you fucked up. And that was the end of that conversation.
Let me explain.
Man, pride does come before a fall.
Yes.
First of all, Jazz has amnesia. He forgets I do wrestle.
That's true.
Hence, I won Saturday. Thank you. How's that eye doing, Steve? Anyway,
hold on. Before you go on, keep in mind, I've been wrestling a long time, and I've never broken my wrist doing a leg drop.
I'm not saying you did, but okay. So here's the situation, Steve. At the time, way before you came into,
I'm gonna be me. You know me. I'm gonna be me. Go ahead.
So there was a group called the 5-Man Power Trip. So they were running ruckshod through the battle royal. But as you already know, we already knew there was a certain time in the battle royal where Willie and his tag partner, they were only two heels in the ring. So everybody's trying to figure out, okay, who's eliminating who. Willie comes up to me and Willie was like, hey, you know it'd be cool if you give me all my stuff. And I'm like, what do you mean give you all your stuff? He said, yeah, give me the punches, give me the potato, give me the dusty elbow. I'm a bump, I'm a lay there. And
that's when you fucked up. By agreeing, that's when you fucked up.
I did listening to Willie. I tell people all the time, don't listen to Willie. And so that's when I went up and said move. Now, let's make some corrections. This wasn't my girlfriend, who is now my wife. This wasn't her first wrestling show. My stepson is in the business, so she's seen it before. She actually seen Rodney Mack put me on my head. So
okay, so hold up. So you're not making it any better. So you said it wasn't our first wrestling show seeing you live, yet you still found some way to break your shit.
Well, again, because listening to Willie, and I'm not gonna lie, I was like, yeah, because again, he done pumped me up downstairs, like I'm a sell, and I'm like, oh, okay. And again, it wasn't so much like I stood on the top rope, but when I jumped, at that moment, I knew I fucked up. I knew I fucked up. Here's the bad part, Steve. So I landed on my right arm and hand, but because of the bounce, I tried to catch myself again with my left, and that's when it wasn't broke; it was fractured, sir.
But shit, broken fractured, same thing. It wasn't normal. It wasn't the way you walk into the ring.
Steve, now here, this is how you know who your real friends are. So at this point, I'm rolling around and I'm like, oh shit, I'm in pain. This hurts. I think it's broke. Jazz is watching the battle royal from the ring, but he's on one knee. But he's crouched in front of her. And he turns to her and says, you know he fucked up, right? So then Willie's tag partner, Jason Dukes, he was like, you hurt, bro? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I'm gonna throw you out. Okay. So of course he throws me out right there in front of her and Jazz. And Jazz is like, so he looks at me and he's like, and he looks at her and he looks down and he said, you know you fucked up. And I'm like, did you just say this in front of her? You can tell me, on any other side of the ring, but you sitting in front of her and you know you fucked up, right?
Dude, you sit up here with your baloney hand just like, yeah, I'm gonna tell you when it happens.
So, I mean, again, what you don't do for love, again, hey, it worked.
Hey, I ain't breaking my shit for love, I'll tell you that.
Hey, I got the girl, right? That's all that matters, right?
The moral of the story is
don't listen to Willie.
Don't do shit in a battle royal and
no, don't listen to fucking Willie.
That's 2 points. Yeah, that's definitely 2 points.
I'm watching Jazz as you're telling this and he's flopping around with the arm. This is what people that listened to Willie last night when the guy got pounced into the second row and Marche and Jazz are running around the ring.
Do you remember that, Jazz?
It was.
Remember the second show of AIW Jack of Trios. And remember we fought the Mexican guys and Willie pounced the boy through the ropes over the guardrail into the second row, and you and Shay jumped down off the apron and ran around just like that, like, oh!
That's all Shay. It's like, hey, there's nothing else for us to do. We sat down. Let's watch him perform.
Oh, so good. So good. The Soul Touches, obviously in the Chicagoland area, hell, not even just that. You guys were big across the globe, it would seem. When you look back on your times with the Soul Touches, is that the work you're most proud of? Because I find that it would be hard not to be.
You know what? Honestly, I'm proud of a lot of the work that I've done. It's just that we just needed more eyes on us. You know what I mean? And honestly, I feel like really we got in Chicago because we just happened to be in the right place, and honestly, we happened to be matching colors. We matched colors. We looked like a team, but we still had our individual styles. You know what I mean? It's like, and when Quack was talking about that, I'm like, that makes sense. Like, yeah, you're a team, but you still have your own individual like move set and charisma. you're dressed in colors, but you got your own style. And I was like, as an artist, I'm like, I see your vision, and I like it. So yes, we were just honestly, we always had the talent. It's just that we just needed the right eyes on us.
And I mean, again, I will forever be grateful, to Mike Quackenbush. Again, doing just happened. They were doing the Ted Petty Invitational for IWA Mid South.
Yep.
Elite decided to rent their ring to them if we could do a matinee show, and it just so happened that, and this was all at the Milo Dome. So how crazy is that? You've got a locker room full of elite wrestlers, and then all the IWA guys started coming in, and Quack was there, and I just happened, like, oh, okay, let's just do our thing, and we did. And here's the crazy part, like, we lost that day, and it was like, oh, okay, but for us, it was like, it was part of the storyline, okay, whatever.
But you know what? None of that even matters, because the thing is, we showed up to do a job, and that's what we did.
No,
we weren't like.
But it was the fact, I think the music and all you guys matching, and again, like Jazz said, everybody had their own way of working in the ring, and then to come back and like he was there, and he asked, "Hey, can I talk to you guys?" And he told us, what we could do better, but then he started with the the praises, and then it was like, and I knew who Mike Quackenbush was from Japan.
See, but that's the thing, I didn't know him, so I'm like, we just want to do a show, and I thought there was a guy who's like just a promoter, and like, hey, I like the way y'all dress and blah blah blah. I'm like, all right, cool. So for us, it was just another day at the office. We weren't trying to impress anyone. We just did our normal.
We weren't, but then to turn around and days later get the email that we're invited to King of Trios. And then when you find out how big this tournament is, that you get teams from Japan, Mexico.
But this is the thing, I didn't. I just saw as another booking, but it was a booking in a different state. That was my mindset. So I'm like, all right, cool. It'd be cool to wrestle in front of some people that I don't know. Let's see, because it'd be like, I've been wrestling for years. Let me try my hand at some people that haven't seen me. So I didn't know you did your research, but for me, it was just a booking in a different place.
And see, for me, I was scared shitless because I know the Philly crowd. I know the Philly crowd. If you watched ECW, you see the Philly crowd. Either they like you or they hate you. And if they hate you, they want no part of you. And
I just saw the ECW crowd is just a bunch of crazy people who want to see some crazy stuff. And yeah. But the funny thing is, go ahead.
But you can't deny, and even Jazz can't. The second day, when we got
I think it was the first day.
No, we won the first match. We won the first match that night, that Friday. And then Saturday we got knocked out of the tournament. But the crowd stood on their feet and all chanted, "Please come back." Now, again, I can't speak for Jazz. I can't speak for Shay or Willie. For me, that meant more than anything in the world. Like that, this crowd who didn't know us at all. Well, I'm not gonna say everybody didn't know us, because there was some random guy that came up to the merch table and he had old Windy City pictures of us. And it was like, dude, you had to dig to find those. But it was like,
or maybe he didn't have to dig. Maybe he always had it the whole time.
Well, maybe he did, but it was just for all of these people. And so day 2 was like 700, 900 people in the damn building, in the arena. And for them to all chant for 4 guys from Chicago, "Please come back." And it was,
what? I did get emotional, a little bit emotional at that point, because I felt like everything that I've done or everything that I wanted to do was kind of, it was like solidified in a way. Not totally solidified, but it was more of a, hey, now they know what you can do. Now the world knows what you can do. But honestly, before that, the one thing that did freak me out, the only thing that freaked me out that whole trip, it wasn't the travel, anything. Oh yeah, that was Willie. Hold on to the damn airplane seat. But the only thing that freaked me out was when, I was relaxed because I know me. I know what I'm gonna do. I'm like, all right, it's just another dude. Let's just do our thing. And I felt super solid. Even when I watched the matches, it felt super solid. And I was watching Shay, what he was doing. And then Quack goes, hey, Willie. He went to Willie. I'm like, oh, man, is this going to be it? Because, Willie just shows up. He's like, yeah, I'm Willie, blah, 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 blah. But Willie showed up, and he did his thing, and it was good. It was just our normal shtick. And the promoter, Mike Quack, was like, hey, Willie, very good job, blah, blah, blah. I thought it was going to be a butt. And it was a butt. And the butt, he turned to me and Shay and said, hey, but you two need to step it up. And we were like, oh, my God, what? We didn't, oh, shit. That's the only time I was freaked out about wrestling for someone else because, Willie's a natural wrestler, but I thought that, with us doing our, crazy stuff, it would have been okay, but apparently we need to step up our game to Willie's, and I'm like, oh, fuck. So that was the only thing that freaked me out.
That must have been some kind of performance. The Soul Touches, obviously, their place is cemented in history. But there's another tag team that I've been enjoying for quite a few years that you've been a part of. I saw it for the first time in Crash Tested Wrestling for a few months. You guys came on the scene and basically owned tag team wrestling as we knew it at Crash Tested, as far as I was concerned. And that's you and Bryce Benjamin as the N-words. Now, obviously, it's changed and it's, there's more, obviously Marche is part of that group now. When GPW was ending and Mitch had moved down south and I was doing a lot of the booking and I was trying to make the best shows we could make as we were going out, I was like, I really want the N-words to do the last match of the company against the Plague because it was a rivalry that had been established years before. And we had Marche as our champion for a while and Bryce came in and did a shtick with him. And I'm like, wouldn't it be great if the last match could be the Plague versus the N-words? And I wasn't sure if you were going to do it. And I'm like, can you reach out and see if he'll do it? You don't really know who I am, what I'm doing. But somehow you got to do it, and you guys came in. And there were 350 people at that last show that stood on their feet because they knew this was the end, and we were ending in the best possible way. I never really got a chance to thank you for coming in and being part of that, but the work we did to get to that point, to have that match put a punctuation mark on a very difficult time, was one of the most professional things I've ever seen. And you were so great that night in the locker room, and that has always been something that I've appreciated. But the N-words are something special, and they're still around now. Talk a little bit about that tag team because as special as the Touches are, the N-words are pretty darn special too.
Well, it started freelance as a joke because, again, it's one of those, me being me, the closest people I'm with are the people that I'm able to actually put it in there more. You know what I mean? Because I know they're not going to bitch about it. So, started with Shay. Actually, before that, started with Deshaun, or Red knows him as Delight in Windy City. We rivaled so much that we wound up being like really good friends, and we can do whatever we want to each other. Same thing with Shay. But with Bryce, we've rivaled for like forever, and honestly, it's been an unwritten rivalry because people kept saying, "Hey, it'd be great if Bryce and Jazz had this match." But back then, that wasn't even a thought because you got your crowd for this company here, you got your crowd for this company here, so it's like it would never ever happen because why would someone from this company wrestle for someone from this company and having this match because it doesn't. These two worlds don't exist, you know. But once the first time we actually wrestled, it was a very solid match. I mean, we had our beef backstage, but professionally, it was a solid match, and we both just like, hey, we're done, and that was it. But once I started wrestling for Galley, we started wrestling more, and it was fun. It was fun telling a story. I love telling the story. We built up this whole almost 2-year rivalry, and I don't know if I should say this, but the plan was really for GPA to turn, and I threw it out there like, hey, what if they don't expect me to turn? Let's pull a Tatanka Lex Luger.
Wow.
And it happened because everyone started booing me at some point. They thought I was gonna be this massive heel, and at the end of the day, it was Bryce that actually turned. He was an American hero. I was a supposed scumbag, and I was telling the truth the whole time, and everyone hated me. And then everything happened, and it went down, and it was the greatest story ever. It was the greatest story ever, and everyone felt like shit because they were booing me, and I was like, hey, I told you I was telling the truth. So I'm very good at being.
Jazz, we lost your comment. We can't hear you.
It wasn't like new guys. It was guys that I wrestled, it was seasoned guys, and there was a little joke, like Ruff Carlson. I just throw it out there. Ruff Carlson. He was like, "Yeah, I wrestled you, man. What's gonna tell me I don't know?" I'm like, "Okay." And he wound up starting the match, and he was doing this thing with this new kid, and I told him, or the new kid actually took his cowbell. No, I told the new kid not. He told the new kid not to touch his cowbell, but the new kid was a heel. But when they did that match, it was a solid match. But I was like, hey, listen, Ruff, you should have let him take the cowbell. I know it's yours. You should take him to get that heat that he needs because now you're the face. And he was gonna say something. He's like, oh man, I didn't think about it like that. And those are the teacher moments that you want. Is I didn't think about it that way. And it's like I'm always throwing out something crazy that people don't think about because I'm always thinking outside the box. Like what's not happening? What can we do that's not going to be expected on the show, or what can we do that people won't that no one else is going to do? You know what I mean? Like everyone's going to do a clothesline, everyone's going to do a drop kick, not me, but everyone's going to do a drop kick. But still, what's going to be the wow factor? And that's when the I guess an alimony. What's the word? Anomaly comes in, which is me, and I'll do something totally different.
I know the first time I saw the N-words. Matter of fact, it was either your debut or the second show, and I just show up at freelance. Knew the people, knew the owners, whatever. And I decided, hey, it's a Friday night. I ain't got nothing else to do. Show up there. And so I'm trying to figure out how is this gonna work, and honestly, part of me was offended. Like, it's a new damn team, and really, and Shay was on the card, and Jazz was on the card, and the word had got back to me. The reason why they didn't use us because we were too popular, and that kind of like insulted me. Like, okay, so if we're popular, wouldn't you want to put us on the card? Like, to get more people? But okay. So Jazz, I was, again, kind of heated. And then Jazz comes out with Bryce. And when you hear NWA and they came out, but again, I didn't see Jazz as anything else. Jazz was himself. If anybody knows Jazz, Jazz likes, if he could probably wear sweatsuits every day, all day. So for him to come out in the sweatsuit, and he already wears a bandana, so I'm like, oh my God, this is gold. Like,
you know what? Even before that,
even before what? Because your audio is going in and out.
He'll come back.
Ladies and gentlemen.
And I'm like, I don't know if that's gonna fly. And then we just pitched it like, hey, but we're going out. We're not doing the 2 players. They ain't gonna do that. We're gonna do the. We did the car salesman. We go at this as niggas. No, can't do it. Can we do the N words? No. But it's not the niggas. So, and we said yes. I was like, oh shit, we actually doing this. Oh, okay. And yeah. And that's really how it started. But the funny thing is, I saw like he actually sent me something, probably like 6 to 8 months after we started using the N words, and it was some girl who was offended. I guess she's like a indie wrestling fan, but she was offended. That girl, she was offended. She's like, they could have done something. But I'm like. And I wasn't mad. I was like, oh my God, people are talking about us. But the thing is, what pisses me off, honestly, is with Bryce, super talented, super knowledgeable. Me, myself, I know I know what I can do. Why does it take something like this to get eyes on us? That's my thing. You know what I mean? Think about it. What if the Soul Toucher was the N-word? Like you got Willie, a seasoned veteran who can, a 300+ pound man who not only can do a drop kick but jump off the top rope. And then you got Marche, super athletic. You got me. You're telling me because we have a different name or we don't have a shocking name that we don't get eyes on us? It's stupid.
Well, I agree. Think about it. We kind of touched on it a little bit and talked about how Willie wouldn't dance to save his life and do the Soldier Boy. All the times we did it. And
died through ropes.
Yeah, but he wouldn't. He wouldn't do it no matter what. At least you said, well, I can't get all of that, but I'll at least do this.
Hey, I'm left-handed, so I'm a little bit backwards.
But the crazy part is, and that's why I will forever again have love for Philly and Cleveland and all the places we went, is because it's sad, and I'm gonna be honest, it's sad here in Chicago that all that talent that you just talked about that we have, and we had to go outside of the state
to get some love,
for people to say, wow, you guys are this, you guys are that. And it's like, but this is the same thing we do the other 3 weekends out of the month, all over Chicago. But it's like Willie said when we got off the airplane,
no fanfare.
Where's the fanfare? Like,
exactly.
Like we got off the plane and Willie was like, ugh, we just back in Chicago. And honestly, I hated that feeling. I hated it every time we came back because it was like, we're right. I kind of tell the story to people of the second time we went to Chicago King of Trios and I sold all my merch. I went with 2 suitcases and one was filled with clothes, the other was filled with merch. And by the time we left the last day for the second time we were there, I had sold out. But yet that same merch had been here,
Yep.
and
Unpurchased.
and people would just look at you, you know, like, oh, you know, okay, you got an 8x10. And again, I've always done different stuff. You know, I was doing stuff that nobody else was thinking about, but everybody was like, ugh, okay, whatever. But we go other places and people are like, gimme, 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 you know. And it's a shame that you have to be seen outside of your area for people to even take notice of you. You know,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
if you got a jewel here, you know, you should kind of praise that jewel here, you know, and encourage that jewel and let them know what they are. But I don't know what it is about Chicago that we just don't show anybody. It's almost like, I guess the best way to say it is a hater mentality. We don't want to see anybody succeed, and it's not us. And I'm not that way. Me and Jazz had a discussion years ago over a friend of ours who made it. And he asked me, he said, well, why are you always, you know, commenting and putting up pics or saying stuff? And I told him, I said, dude, for me, I feel like one of us made it. I said, you know, you got to be honest. This is the time where a lot of people aren't being seen. And for this guy, you know, however it happened, you know, he got that opportunity. He ran with it. He made it. And I was happy. And again, I'm like that with everybody. I'm like that with Shay. You know, Shay being signed to NWA, again, I feel like, again, there's a small part of me, I guess I can say it, and I'm selfish about it. There's a small part of me that can say, yes, I know him. Yes, he made it. So there's a part of me that made it, even though I'm not on Power every Tuesday. But I just had that feeling if somebody said, well, damn, who was this Marche Rocky dude? He just burst on the scene. Where he come from? Well,
But you know, it has nothing to do with you knowing him. It's just about the talent that was recognized, and he deserves it.
I'm not. Never will I say he don't deserve it. And I think everybody from this area, if you ain't I can't say that. I guess I can. If you ain't a dick, you know, I think, you know, everybody deserves it. Hell, I think you deserve it. I think there's a bunch of people, you know, that deserve, you know, opportunity, if nothing else, just to be seen, you know. But the problem is, I think in Chicago, we had that crab mentality. We're all trying to pull each other down and don't nobody want to, you know, lift other people up, you know. And it's almost, well, hell, why should Jazz make it? I didn't make it. Hell, I started in this business. I was older than most cats, and I already knew I ain't going to WWE. You know, that was never my dream. You know, I always said if I got a call, oh, okay, but I wasn't. That wasn't my goal. You know, like a lot of young people, you know, oh, I want to make it to the WWE. Okay, that's great. That's your dream. That was never my dream.
You know what? I think my dream was really just to go as far as I can, but you know, if I got smart enough to pass on knowledge to a younger generation to make them better, that's where I'm. I mean, I guess I am. You know, for the longest time, I thought I was a wrestler first, but I'm honestly thinking I'm a teacher first. You know, and that's where I'm at. Like even when I'll pitch ideas, like, hey, you know what? Let me do this with this guy, and it's like, no, he's too new and blah blah blah. How else are you gonna learn? You can't learn. A new person cannot learn something from a new person. Okay, correct. That's my thing. And I would fight with promoters like, oh, well, you know, we want the veterans to wrestle the veterans because we know it's going to be good. Well, what about the newer guys that you're trying to bring in? Why don't you mix it up? Make something not predictable. I'm all about telling the art of wrestling, you know, showing the art of wrestling. You know, I have if there's a kid who's, let's say, 15, 20 years younger than me, and if he beats me, he beats me. We're not going out in the back alley duking it out for real because, I'll win. But, we're telling a story. We're superheroes inside this little ring. I'm not going to be offended if you say, hey, I want you to, he's got to get tapped out. All right, cool. How are we going to do it? What's the mission? What the hell? Do something different. And I'm trying to get these older guys, like, get off of your high horse, get out of your ego, tell a story, okay? No one wants to book you because you don't want to work. You don't want to work with people. You're being a jerk. Me, I want to have fun.
And I agree.
If I'm gonna do something that I don't normally do, like take chops, guess what? Everybody, oh my God, he did that. He did it twice. Oh my God. Yeah. I even blow other wrestlers' minds. Like I said, even with Shay, he was surprised by that. So I like to just do stuff kind of spontaneously because I want everyone to have fun. Even the person I'm wrestling, they did. Like, dude, you almost made me laugh. Like, yep, well, that's me. I don't care. We're here to have fun. Either we having fun or I'm having fun.
Well,
either way,
it should be fun. Steve saw me Saturday, and everybody said I did well, but I was a nervous wreck.
He did,
and
that's what I saw.
But at the end of the day, I had fun. And the first time Steve saw me after I lost considerable weight, he was like, "Oh, you move fast, and you looked like you were enjoying yourself." I was like, "I was."
That was an IPW.
Earlier you said wrestling never felt like work, and after a while, for me, that's how it felt. Like a few years ago, it just felt like work. And both of us work at a job Monday through Friday. And
hold up. So hold up. Let me be me. Is this interview about you or me?
It's about both of us.
It's about me. That's not an advertisement. It's about me.
I'm making a point, damn it.
See, Steve? See what I'm talking about?
You can't come on my show and me not talk about me.
I was about to go talk about CSW here for a minute, and then you pulled
it. Then go ahead, because I want to know why him and Shay is fighting.
Well, that's the thing.
Because I want to know why he being petty.
Me?
I don't know who's being petty.
Me?
Jazz.
Okay, you know what? This is what I've been doing a lot lately. Okay, listen. Most wrestlers like to watch their match to mark out for themselves. Me, I want to watch a match just to see what my thought process was when I'm doing stuff. And even I'm like, oh my God, why would you do that? But it worked. No one, I hear the commentary, especially from Steve Kenton. I'm like, I'm not. When I hear him talk, I'm like, and everyone, when he's talking, he's like, oh, well, Jazz is doing this, Jazz is doing that, and he's being a brat and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, but no one got my side of the story, And that's what pisses me off so much. So this is literally what happened. I got booked for CSW, and I got booked for PAL at the same day. But I couldn't, there was no way to really do both at the same time. So because of the match orders, and I there was no way I could make it. So I wanted to do a PAL. So stopped doing CSW for a while, right? And plus PAL was different for me. It was a new company for me to wrestle in front of new eyes, and that's what I needed. And then like a while later, I got messages, oh, Shay's doing this, Shay's doing, well, not Shay's doing it, but people are, kind of, giving him the business. And I was like, you know what, let me go help out my boy real quick. So that's when I happened to show up at that one CSW show when the lights went out and came back on. I was doing my thing, and that was fun. That was fun. And I was surprised that people were like, welcome back. I was like, oh, y'all remember me. That was cool. but the thing was, there were a lot of new guys, a lot of younger guys there. And I was doing my thing there, and it was fun until I started getting beat down a lot. And Marche said he loved Superman, but he was nowhere near to be found. Yet every time I was there, if something happened to him, I was like, all right, throw the curtain out, do my thing. You know what I mean? Protect my boy. But any other time it was him, it didn't happen. It was just like he was there for the fanfare, and I got bigger. I put on 200 pounds of muscle, whatever, and it was like, hey, you forgot that I always had your back, and it was a match where he was supposed to be doing a title shot, and I ran in to help him because somebody else came in, and I lost it. I lost my cool. And Red knows Red and Shay knows that I have a boiling point where I can bottle only so much down before I explode. And I exploded at that point. And I kicked him in the nuts. And I did not care. Because guess what? When all that happened, I went home, fell asleep like a baby. Because all that stress was not there. And I kept doing it because he needed to learn that friendship is not one-sided. Brotherhood is not one-sided. I can't keep helping you out, and you just like, all right, cool, you help me out. Hey, and then when I'm in trouble, you know where to be found, signing autographs or whatever. And no one gets that. No one gets that. I'm not being a jerk. I'm just trying to rectify what he's doing. If anything, he's really being a jerk. He's the bad guy in this. I'm not. I'm being me. And I'm so comfortable being me.
Let me ask this, Jazz. Then, so you mentioned there were times where you were catching beatings and Shay wasn't around, right?
Yeah. He was there. He wasn't around at that point.
Right. So these people that would give you beatings, did said general manager ever fire any of these people? Did said general manager suspend any of these people? Hey!
Don't pull the BS, okay? Don't even pull the BS, because guess what? Friends are friends, no matter what happens.
I'm saying friends.
No. Just stop. Because guess what? We're school teachers, and you know what? When you break up fights, and if it's multiple people, it's because they saw their friend getting jumped, so they jumped in to help their friend. That's what you do. That's what I did.
But here's the thing, Jazz, and I've had problems with this and not with this situation, but clearly the GM at CSW sucks. I've said it for damn near over a year now. The GM sucks. He knows it. It's nothing new. At the last show, he wound up on his ass with his glasses broken, and he's been crying. He had to go buy a new pair. He whined about it all over social media. Oh, my glasses broke. Oh. Like, really? You're not Tony Stark. You look like you ate Tony Stark. But still, I understand that, you should have his Shay's back and Shay should have yours. I just think the GM sucks, plain and simple. And so he cut out.
Well, if Jazz were still here, I would say that the match at the last event was pretty spectacular. He and Marche went at it fast, furious. It left the damn building. They were in the parking lot. And at the end of the day, the Swiss Mist showed up and blinded Marche, and he ended up delivering an M80 to an official. Jazz gets the victory. It's a bit of a mess, and we're still sorting it out. But we got a show coming up in a few weeks at Lake in the Hills. And this general manager will be there. And this general manager is going to do great things like he always does. CSW is great right now. Not going to say it's because of me, but I certainly work my ass off to make every show fantastic. And, see, Red, if you're not too busy on 26, maybe come out, take a look, learn a lesson or two.
Learn from who? Let me see. Learn a lesson from the guy that's got a bandage on with a black eye. I don't have a black eye. You swore up and down. My head was gonna get kicked off. Look at this, Steve. Look at it. See how it moves? It's perfect. I can do everything. Matter of fact, I picked up a win Saturday night.
You cheated.
And you wound up beat up.
John Bullard is going to see that footage, and he is going to know what I know already. And I think they're going to strip you of that victory, personally.
You can't. The referee's decision is final, Steve.
We're in a day of instant
replay. You wouldn't know that because you're not an in-ring competitor.
Yeah, you know what? I'm doing good work.
Good work where?
At the gym. And who knows, C-Red, maybe my in-ring debut's coming.
Coming? And it will come and go just like that.
And maybe...
Nope, trust me, ain't nobody paying to see you.
Maybe we get a power hour match someday.
Steve, do you really think you can hang with me? I mean, I really, maybe that whooping that the tribunal put on you, you need to like log off right now. Go to the hospital. You that's what you need to do. You need to go to the hospital because clearly you have a concussion. Clearly, you are so delusional.
Jazz, welcome back. We're glad that you came back on. We lost you too soon. We were talking about your match with Marche at the last event, how you guys went outside. There was a Swiss Miss situation, unconscious official, lots of crazy stuff. Take us back to that Magic Friday night.
Well, that's kind of the reason why I had to leave because I was getting a little bit. I'm okay. So yes, it was a magical night for me. Sad story. Never mind. We never go for that. What about it? This is my thing. I'm surprised that people were surprised that I won. Like I can't beat Marche. Hell, I taught him half the shit he knows. I trained him. So, of course, I'm going to know how to... The whole M80 thing, yeah, that was me using that. That was me using the Ace Crusher or the Diamond Cutter when I was 140 pounds because that was the only thing I could do. I can't pick anybody up and throw them down at 140 pounds. That was the only move that I had, but I was working on different things. And he actually said, hey, you know what? I'm trying to figure out a finisher. And as I was trying to figure out, different things for me to do, I said, hey, why don't you try the Ace Crusher? Go ahead and use that. I'm not going to be using that anymore. That was me. But, yeah. What about the Swiss Miss?
You know what? It was a situation that occurred. You blinded Marche. Marche hit the M80. I
didn't blind him. He could close his eyes. He didn't. He chose not to close his eyes, so that's on him.
I guess depending on how you look at it, that might be true. Anyway, I don't think anything was really solved at this match. I feel like things might continue, and we got a little show coming up in Lake in the Hills in a few weeks.
You know what? I thought I was going to be okay with the outcome because I knew I was going to win, but I am not 100% satisfied. I'm not. Because I don't think he get it. He thought he was going to a match with me, and it's going to be a wrestling match, get some things off our chest or get some things on my chest because apparently he doesn't see the problem. But I won the match, but the thing is, he didn't get the lesson. He didn't grasp what I was trying to teach him. Be there for your friends. Don't be a jerk. Don't not be there. You know what I mean? Just, it is very frustrating. And people I talk, oh, you acting crazy. I feel crazy. I do. I feel crazy because I am trying to be the best person I can be, and I can't do that when people that I trust are not there for me. It's hurtful. It's hurtful. I'm having fun. Believe me, I'm having fun with wrestling, but when you got someone who's the godfather of your kids, and I'm the godfather of his kid, but you trust me with your kids, but you don't trust me. It's weird. Like it doesn't make sense, and that's what I'm struggling. I always trying to make things logical, and this does not make sense. It doesn't make sense that I'm the bad guy in this situation. It doesn't make sense that people are booing me. Well, half the people, because half the people are cheering me, half the people. See what I mean? Now I'm dropping the computer.
Wow, we got.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just getting. It's been eating away at me, and I don't like it. I don't like it. I want to. I don't know who to trust. But I got people looking at me like, "Oh, you're being a jerk." Blah 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 blah. No, I'm not. I'm setting things straight. I'm not taking any BS anymore. That's what's going on. I'm sorry, and you're not going to just say anything or do anything to me, and I'm not going to respond. No, that's over. You don't got promoters talking about, oh, you don't wear your trunks anymore. You don't wear your Power Ranger gear anymore. You're just walking in street clothes. Well, guess what? Because I feel more comfortable being myself. Okay? If it looks like I didn't change, maybe I didn't. Maybe I just put on some knee pads, and that's it. You know what? Because and guess what? I have so much more fun being me. Not being the person that you want me to be. Me being me. So that's why I'm comfortable. That's why I'm having fun. You boo me, I don't care. You cheer me, yeah, I don't care. I mean, I care, but, not as much.
Well, you know what? We got a little show coming in Lake in the Hills on June the 26th. And, if you want to wear a Power Ranger suit, you can. Or if you want to come in wearing street clothes, you can do that too. I don't care what you wear. But I know your business with Marche is not over. And maybe, just maybe, at Lake in the Hills, something happens. But either way, 1101 West Algonquin Road on June 26th, the event is called Fallout. And feels like...
Which is funny, because that sounds like exactly me and Marche's relationship. We had a falling out.
So, appropriately named, indeed. Do you got anything else for Acid Jazz, C Red? I'm glad you're done picking on the general manager, who's doing a great job, by the way. CSW is thriving.
That's why he wound it with broken glasses on his face. He's doing such an awesome job.
Broken glass everywhere.
Look, I'm going to deal with Marco Anthony, and I'm going to deal with the Wisconsin people that tried to put Sky Blue and Jake Painter out of wrestling. So the GM's coming, and there'll be some things happening, rest assured. But, like I said, why don't you come up and we'll get you a seat, and, you can see how the big boys do it.
You know what? Speaking of CSW, I was in the bar, and I had people calling to like, oh my God, you're so funny. You had the best match, blah, 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 blah. And then I got a promoter in my ear going, blah, 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 blah. Stop being so funny, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, dude, I'm being myself. Shut up. And guess what? You got people over here commenting me while you're over here trying to put me down.
We got some things to do, no doubt about it. Jazz, we love you. We love you taking time out of your schedule to talk to us tonight. The stories you tell, the stories that C Red tells, every week that we do the show in some form or fashion, you, Marche, and Willie are brought up. And I listen to you talk about it, and I listen to Marche talk about it. I listen to Willie talk about it, and I listen to Red talk about it every week. That's what makes it so amazing, is that guys always say such enthusiastic things, and you talk real about it, and that makes me wish I was there on some of those car rides, and it makes me wish I was there to see some of those things, and that's what makes the listeners feel the same way. we want to be part of what you guys bring. And I think that's the greatest compliment we can give you as fans is that you make us want to enter your world through your stories, through your experiences, through your teachings. We want to come into your world and be entertained. And that's why we do this show, because it's so darn entertaining. I laughed the entire first half of the show while you guys were going back and forth. That's not staged. That's real. You guys made me cry tonight. I was laughing so hard. And that's after 11 hours of work. So the rest of my night is going to be positive because of what you guys bring to the table.
Really? You going to bring up the positive word?
What?
We are not the power of positivity, damn it.
Well, just say it.
There you go again. I thought it was about me, but apparently you put it back on him. Take the spotlight.
It's my show.
We're trying to talk to Jazz. You know, we've never had him on.
You were closing out.
But I'm
just close out the damn show.
But it's your show. You want to keep it open.
It's partly my show too, so I can thank my guests properly and show
the part that ain't black, the part that ain't like this.
What?
He got his ass whooped Saturday. See, he keep doing this, and he found out that there's comeuppance when you keep doing this.
Well, you know what? Obviously, he ain't been hanging around me because I do this a lot, and guess what? I can still deliver.
But that's the problem, Jazz. You can. He can't.
We can learn. I can teach him.
I'm getting stronger every day. I'm losing weight every day. And you better watch what you say, Red. Someday you and I might meet in that squared circle.
And
you don't need to lose weight. You just need a weapon. The hell? Keep it simple.
But anyway, this is not about C-Red. It's not about Steve. This is about Acid Jazz. Jazz, we love you. We thank you. You are an asset to this business in every way, and one of the most popular superstars in the CSW locker room, and we thank you for that.
Thank you. I put the ass in asset. Thank you.
Ass and asset. The urban sensation C-Red and the master of the Swiss Mist, Acid Jazz. I'm Steve. Thanks for watching the Power Hour. We'll catch you next time. And don't miss Acid Jazz at Fallout in Lake in the Hills on June the 26th. It's going to be great. I may have to have some words with him as GM, but we'll see how that goes. Good night, everybody. We'll talk to you next week. Have a good night.